What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another Premier League predictions video, and we are here for game week 37, and honestly we are right at the business at the end of the season now. The title race is going crazy, the European spots are tight and there are still teams fighting to survive. Before we get into it, make sure to smash the like button, subscribe if you're new, and comment your predictions down in the comments below, because I don't know who you think is winning these games. Anyway, let's get straight into my predictions. Starting with Aston Villa against Liverpool, and this is absolutely massive in the race for Champions League football. Right now, both teams are level on points in the table and separated by goal difference, so this is basically a 6-pointer. Villa are 5th, Liverpool are 4th, and honestly, neither side comes into this in amazing form. Villa just dropped points in a 2-2 draw against already relegated Burnley, while Liverpool have also looked shaky recently. But Villa Park is such a difficult place to go. Ollie Watkins is still scoring important goals, and Villa usually turn up in these massive home games. Liverpool, meanwhile, still have quality everywhere. Szoboszlai, Salah, Van Dijk, but defensively they'll always look vulnerable. No disrespect to Van Dijk. I think this becomes a proper end-to-end game with loads of chances because both teams know how important the win is. So my prediction is going to be a 2-2 high-scoring draw. Next up, we've got Manchester United against Nottingham Forest. United are currently 3rd in the table, and they've actually been really solid recently, haven't they? They've only lost once in the last 5 league matches, and Old Trafford has been a strong place all season. But that United strand, I'm sorry, mate, you're never cutting your hair. Anyway, Forest, meanwhile, I've confirmed their safety, so they're not in the relegation battle anymore. Not every point matters for them anymore, because they've shown fight recently. Got a huge late draw against Newcastle last week, which confirmed their survival, so they can relax a bit. And I just think United have too much quality anyway. Bruno Fernandes has been massive for them this season, and they've scored 63 league goals already, with Bruno Fernandes being a candidate for best player of the season along with Declan Rice. Forest will definitely make it difficult because they defend deep and frustrate teams, don't they? But I still think United edge it. Now we've got Brentford against Crystal Palace, and this is actually a really important game for Brentford because they are still fighting for potentially a Champions League spot. We don't know that though, but they are pushing for Europe, aren't they? Brentford are 8th while Palace are 15th, but Palace are just focusing on that Conference League. But they've picked up some decent results recently. Brentford at home are always dangerous though, aren't they? They've only lost 3 home league games all season, which is seriously impressive. Igor Thiago and Dango Ouattara have been massive for Brentford this season, and they're so dangerous from set pieces as well with Michael Kyode's long throws. Palace definitely have players who can hurt teams on the counter-attack, especially Mateta, who scored again last week against Everton. But overall, I trust Brentford more. I'm going to go Brentford to win 2-1. Next up, we've got Everton against Sunderland. This is one of the weirdest games to predict because Sunderland have actually had a really solid return to the Premier League. They're sitting 12th in the table, which is honestly impressive, but they've had a slip up in the second half of the season, whether that's due to injuries or anything. But at the start of the season, if you said Sunderland finishing 12th, I'd be like, you are mad. Anyway, Everton, meanwhile, are just above them and still technically fighting for a possible European spot. Everton drew 2-2 with Palace last weekend, which dented their European hopes. And although defensively they looked shaky, they still created plenty of chances, didn't they? Bramley Moore late in the season is difficult now, but Goodison Park used to be, but I think Bramley Moore will be as well for away teams, and I think the atmosphere pushes Everton over the line here. I can see Sunderland scoring because Everton never make games easy for themselves, do they? Especially at home this season. But I still think Everton just edge it. Now we've got Leeds against Brighton. This is honestly one of the toughest games to predict this week because Leeds are 14th right now and have been in very decent form recently, surviving, confirming safety as well. They've only lost once in the last 5 matches, and Ellen Road has become a really difficult place to go again. Brighton, meanwhile, are 7th and still pushing for a Champions League spot. Last week, they absolutely destroyed Wolves 3-0 and looked brilliant going forward. Brighton's movement and passing is so difficult to defend against, and they've scored over 50 league goals this season already. I think Leeds will make this chaotic because that's what Ellen Road does, but Brighton's quality eventually wins out. So I'm going to go for Brighton to win in a massive race for a Champions League spot. Next, we've got Wolves against Fulham. Wolves are bottom of the table and already relegated, and it has been a horrible season for them, hasn't it? They've only won 3 league games all year, and they've conceded 66 goals. Brighton just beat them 3-0 last week, and Wolves look completely lost defensively. Fulham, meanwhile, are comfortably mid-table. You could argue they're pushing for Europe, but I think their chances have gone now. Although they lost, and they did lose recently to Bournemouth as well, they've still had a decent season overall for their standards. I just trust Fulham so much more going forward, and Wolves look like a team with no confidence at all. So if there is admittedly a little slim chance Fulham could get Europe, I reckon they win here in the race for it. Now we've got Newcastle against West Ham, and I am begging for a Newcastle win here. This should actually be a really entertaining game though, because neither defence is exactly reliable, isn't it? They've both been horrible this season. Newcastle are 13th right now, and they desperately need to finish the season strongly after a disappointing campaign, which, and they're probably push for Europe, is now gone after failing to beat Forest last week. West Ham, meanwhile, are 17th and only just above the relegation spaces. They lost 1-0 to Arsenal last week in a really controversial match after having a late equaliser ruled out by VAR. I've said my thoughts on that in a short video, which you can go check that out now. At St James's Park, though, Newcastle are a very complete different side. The crowd there can completely change games. I think both teams score because both defences concede loads of chances because they've been shambolic defending this season. But I am hoping that Newcastle can do us a favour here and they will edge it. And finally, Arsenal against Burnley, and I'm not going to lie, I think Arsenal absolutely destroy them. Arsenal are top of the table right now, unfortunately, and they know that 2 more wins will secure the Premier League title. They also just beat West Ham and reached the Champions League final recently, so the confidence in that squad must be unbelievable right now. Burnley, meanwhile, are already relegated and they've conceded 73 league goals this season, which is by far one of the worst defensive records in the league. Arsenal at the Emirates are ruthless, and I think this becomes one-way traffic very quickly. But Burnley, if you can do anything, I will be so happy if you could do this one thing against Arsenal. Now it's time to take a look at your community predictions, and honestly, some of these are absolutely insane. No one is backing Liverpool in a game this big. It is actually crazy. Forest got absolutely no support from you lot. Again, completely one-sided with Brentford. Now this one shocks me. Every single person backs Sunderland. Most of you are backing Leeds at Ellen Road, another surprising one. Most of you agree with me on the Fulham winning, which is no surprising. You lot genuinely could not decide with the Newcastle West Ham. All of them for Newcastle's draw and West Ham, 33% each. And pretty much everyone expects Arsenal to win comfortably. Again, no surprise there. So those are my Premier League Game Week 37 predictions and your community predictions as well for part 1. Make sure you comment your predictions down below because there are definitely going to be shocks this weekend. There always are at this stage of the season. If you enjoyed the video, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and then turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. We'll have my FA Cup final predictions coming soon after this video. Then tomorrow, we'll have my La Liga Game Week 37 predictions. And then on the Monday, we'll post a part 2 of Man City for Bournemouth versus Man City and Chelsea versus Spurs. We will be there, so see you there.